Must have about that one. No, I've got to front my list here. What I'm going to do now is, what I started off doing was traditional bush poetry, which was what they class as written by a dead poet who's already died. This poem, this is one of the first ones I ever learned. It was the first poem I can ever remember being read to me. And it was back in about year 5 at school, and the teacher was reading out some poetry. And I've always remembered this one, and I heard it later on the radio a couple of times, and then I've got a book and I read it and I ended up learning it. It was the first, I think it was the first poem I learned in my verse. Excuse me. This is written by Thomas Spencer, and it tells a bit of a story about a cricket match. Now, I've been to a few bush cricket places, set up a team, and you've got to scrounge around and you eventually find enough people to play the team. You know, the neighbouring team might, challenge you in a little match. And that's what this poem's about. It's called How MacDougall Topped the Score. A peaceful spot is Piper Flat. And those that live around, they keep themselves by keeping sheep and turning up the ground. But the climate is erratic, and the consequences are the battle with the elements is everlasting war. We plough, we sow, we harrow, then we sit down and pray for rain. And then we all get flooded out and have to start again. But the folk are jubilating as they never did before, for we played Molongo cricket and MacDougall topped the score. See, Molongo had a head on it, and they challenged us to play a single inning match for lunch with the losing team to pay. We were no great guns at cricket, but we couldn't right say no. So we started into practice and we let the ribbon go. We scoured the flat for 10 miles round to muster up our men. But when the list was totalled, we could only number 10. And then up spoke Big Tim Brady. He was always slow to speak. He said, "What price MacDougall, that lives down by Cooper Creek?" So we sent for old MacDougall, and he stated in reply he had never played at cricket, but he'd half a mind to try. He couldn't come to practice because he was getting in his hay, but he guessed he'd show them buggers at Molongo how to play. Now, MacDougall was a Scotchman, and a canny one at that, and he started into practice with a paling for a bat. He got Mrs. Mac to bowl to him, but she couldn't run at all, so he trained his sheepdog, Pincher, how to scout and fetch the ball. Now, Pincher was no puppy. He was old and worn and grey, but he understood MacDougall and accustomed to obey. If MacDougall cried out, "Fetch it!" he would fetch it in a trice, and until the word was "drop it," he would grip it like a vice. You've got the idea already, haven't you? Well, each succeeding night they played until the lights grew dim. Sometimes MacDougall struck the ball, sometimes the ball struck him. And if MacDougall struck, the ball would plough a furrow in the ground. But if he missed, the impetus would turn him 3 times round. Now the fateful day at length arrived, the day that was to see Molongo bite the dust or Piper Flat knocked up a tree. Now Molongo's captain won the toss and he sent his men to bat, and they gave some leather hunting to the men of Piper Flat. When the ball sped where MacDougall stood, firm planted in his track, he closed his eyes and turned around and stopped it with his back. Now the highest score was 22, the total was 66, when O'Brady sent a Yorker down with Scafford Johnson sticks. So Piper's Flat went into bat for glory and renown. But like the grass before a scythe, our wickets tumbled down. 9 wickets down for 17, with 50 more to win. Our captain heaved a heavy sigh and sent Madougal in. £10 to 1, you'll lose it, cried a barracker from town. But